What is up, everyone? We're back. We're here. We're all together. Welcome to the 20 podcast, brought to you by Beatsource. I'm your host, DJ Spider.
DJ Spider!
Wow, so much change. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for the drop, Little John. Yo, you guys, so much is happening in the DJ world right now, and one of the biggest things for open format DJs is stems inside of Serato DJ's newest edition 3.0, which the incredible thing is that I've been learning is that it works with Beatsource as well. So you can use the Beatsource files with the stems functionality, which is absolutely mind-blowing. And if you don't understand what that means, it's giving you the ability to create acapellas, instrumentals, bass lines, drum tracks, basically extract parts from the songs and on the fly, live, play them. So you could take a song and make an instrumental, make an acapella, blend them together. You could utilize a streaming track from Beatsource and do it. You could take a video. The sky, not even the sky is the limit. I mean, the universe is the limit at this point. Like, my mind is blown with what is going on. So I have been like, a kid who just got a new toy and is staying up all night and is unable to go to sleep because I need to play with this thing forever, having so much fun with it. We discussed it a little bit on this episode, but man, you got to get into it. And the fact that it works with Beatsource is incredible. So all the more reason to use Beatsource. Link, and you don't even have to buy all the songs and you can use it. So yeah, the blend and remix possibilities are endless. I check my page. I'll be posting some of the blends and some of the stuff that I've been doing on there. I also have a video coming out with Pioneer DJ any day now. It might be out while you're listening to this. So go check Pioneer DJ's YouTube. They have a series called Out of Office, I think. And I did like a 30-minute mix using the S7 mixer and the CDJ 3000s. I'm really happy with how it came out. I can't wait for you guys to see it. Hit me up and let me know what you think. Check out my website and my Instagram. My website is DJspider.com, DEEJAYSPIDER, and my Instagram is DJSPIDER. Check out those, and I will have my upcoming gigs on there. I've been at Floor Room every Friday, or actually every week. I'm pretty much there in Los Angeles. I'll be doing some Saturdays and Thursdays coming up, but check it out. Also, I'll be in San Francisco, Dallas, Nashville, Vegas, a bunch of cities coming up over the next month or two. So peep all that scheduling on my site. And thank you guys for all the amazing messages I get, all the beat sorcerers, all the supporters. We couldn't do this without you. I love doing this podcast with you guys. All the messages you send me every day are incredible. Make sure you rate and review the show on Apple, or I'll give us a thumbs up on YouTube. You can watch us. You can listen to us. We're on Spotify. We're everywhere. So thank you guys. And now let's talk about today's incredible guest we have on the show. She's an LA local who has been putting in work since the vinyl days. She is extremely versatile with the genres and the types of events that she can DJ. So you'll hear on this show, she's doing everything from, A-list nightclubs, the high-end private events, and she's done everything from all the bars when we were coming up, and like DJ'd all over the world, really. Like, her stories were incredible, and I got to learn so much about her. Also, she's done this all while being self-managed, and I know a lot of you guys have questions about booking agents and self-managers, and this will answer a lot of that, hopefully. She's also a mother and an all-around great person. So to hear her story is just really impressive, inspirational, and really cool. I was happy to finally sit down with her and learn about her entire story, and I'm really excited for you guys to hear it and all the insightful and important things that she has to say. So please welcome to the show, DJ Lady Sha. We've got someone very special on the show. Give it up for Lady Sha.
Thank you. Very overdue. Thank you.
Yes. And we were just discussing how we've known each other for probably 17 years, and we've never sat down for a one-on-one conversation.
No, it's always been on the go, or me, like, in those early years coming to see you DJ and just hanging out in the DJ booth and just like, hi, bye, do you need water? Okay.
Or just crossing paths, or me coming out of Winston's and you're coming out of Bar Lubitsch,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, did you have a good night? Okay, see you later.
One of my earliest memories of you is coming to see you at Ledoux. I would come by myself.
Oh my God.
What, 2007? I don't even know, but I would
Wow.
be like, oh, Spider's at Ledoux. Like, I would just want to go out in those early years and just like
same.
just listen to DJs I liked, and
Right.
it wasn't as much for like networking as it was for inspiration, and I never want to go see a DJ I don't like play.
Totally.
I want it to be worth my time, and there were a few and you were one of them, so I'd be like, oh, Spiders at Ladue, I'm just gonna go by myself.
Oh my God.
I would just show up to the door and they'd be like, who you with? And I'm like, just me, DJ Lady Sha. And they're like, okay, who are you? Why? I was like, I'm friend of DJ Spiders. And they were like, all right. And they just let me in, and I just go hang out in the DJ booth with you.
Oh my God. Yeah. Every Tuesday I was there. A lot of crazy stuff. I remember having like Britney Spears there one night behind me, just so drunk, and look back and she's just puking into the ice bucket where you keep the bottles. And I'm like, wow, this could be on like TMZ or something.
Yep.
I don't even know if TMZ existed at that point in life, but there was some sort of paparazzi thing. That's crazy. Yeah. So we've known each other, I mean, since, the early days of Hollywood club life. And I mean, you've done so many. we got mics going up and down. Let's see. There we go. That's the special sound effects for you guys at home. You can try to predict. That was an elephant or a microphone. Yeah, like, I was thinking about like your career and how long we've known each other and all the different events you do. And it's really, there's no way to pigeonhole you into one thing. And there's no way to say, oh, you just do this. Like, you've been number one DJing in LA since the early days of the bottle service nightclubs, the bars, so everything from the Ladue and all that to like Bar Lubitsch, Winston's kind of thing, to the private events, to everything, like all of those things. So you've obviously got all types of experience, and you're still doing it, and there's not a lot of people, I think, that can say that at this point. And not to bring up the whole female male thing, but a lot of like women DJs also, I don't think are doing that. We were discussing just even women DJs in the LA club scene, and we couldn't think of, I don't even think, many others, if not any others, that are doing like the A-list clubs like you. So, we can get into all of that. But I guess before we get into it, how are you doing today? How's your day been?
I'm good. I am like, I don't want to say I'm a new mom, but I have a 2.5-year-old. So that
Still kind of new.
Monday through Thursday, that's like, it runs my life. And then all of a sudden Friday I snap into, okay, gonna go DJ a big bottle service club tonight, and I have to check Spotify and like all Apple Music and like Power 106 playlists and just make sure I have all the newest hip hop that came out, because like you get to Poppy or you get to a Bootsy and literally you arrive and they're like, do you have that cut off that mixtape that came out 5 minutes ago? A table's requesting it before they even show up. And I'm like, got it. So like
Crazy.
You have to be so on top of new music for these clubs, because
Right.
club goers are on top. Like they're like banging the new mixtape or new album that just came out a few hours ago on their way to the club and expecting the DJ to already play like the 3 singles off that
Right.
new Migos or Drake or whatever album when they arrive.
Yeah.
So I'm like literally downloading music up until the minute I'm leaving for Poppy or Bootsy these days. And then
God.
on the flip side of it, I'll turn around and do a corporate event where it's all like cool, deep housey, soulful, like upbeat remixes of like Marvin Gaye and Fleetwood Mac, and like, so like
Yeah.
I am just digging multiple genres all week long to prepare for events that are on opposite ends of the spectrum. There's no overlap between my gigs, and so
Right.
literally I have to keep up on music with music on so many fronts.
Yeah, and I know more and more, like, it's been like that for me too, where it's so spread out, and then it's hard to even figure out how to organize your music and your
Yeah.
computer and know what to download, what to delete, how to do your crates and all that stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
how do you deal with that?
I just ordered a new laptop with 1 terabyte of storage, because I
Nice.
was like, I don't
Much
know
needed.
that at the rate I'm downloading music and not having the time to delete it.
Yeah.
I just I need more and more space. And I think it's one of the reasons I can't be a USB DJ. I need my entire library in front of me with all the crates I've made, and I still do my crates like before it was iTunes, and then it turned into the music app. This is so unpopular. Everyone's doing their crates either in Record Box
No,
or
we get
Serato.
everybody on here, all types of music.
My stuff is organized by genre, by decade.
Okay.
And I've been doing it that way for 20 years.
And
like
you still
multiple
utilize the
genres and by
iTunes,
decade.
the iTunes crates or music or whatever.
I make my own folders in iTunes and set my Serato to read iTunes, but then
Right.
iTunes became the music app with the newer
Yeah.
operating systems, and everyone told me I'd have to abandon that and like just go into Serato. But then the new music app,
No, everybody's
I
wrong
figured out
about
how
that.
to
Yeah.
maintain all my folders. I have my big folders of genres, and in them I have everything separated by decades, so that if somebody's like, I want 50s and 60s like house, or not house, 50s and 60s
I like
soul
50s
mixed
house.
with like 50s house. Or
That sounds
like
fire.
remixes of this. I know what folder and what, but then I
Yeah.
also have like my new music folder that just
Right.
has 2,000 songs in it I haven't sorted through. So
Yeah.
like when I have time to sort through it and put them in the right folders, then like it really serves me well at these gigs, and I want
Right.
access to all 20,000 songs at all times. That's how I am, because I don't plan anything in advance. I've never planned in advance for gigs unless it's like a very specific genre request from a client, and then I'll like throw songs into a folder for them. But I never
Yeah.
go into a nightclub or a special event knowing what song I'm going to play first, middle, and last. I have no idea.
Right. Yeah, a lot of times I like to know maybe the first or the beginning, because it like makes me have, I don't know, it gives me a little bit of relief or comfort,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, okay, I can figure it out from
Then
here.
you can
But
just think on the fly.
yeah, but as long as you have a nice, solid crate of music or something, that's what I've been noticing too with gigs, where I'm like, all right, this is like, I'm just gonna only DJ out of this. Sometimes when I go into all the crates, it's too much, and I just get paralyzed or overwhelmed.
One like for the clubs, I have one big folder, and under it,
Yeah.
it's got all these crates that I go into like for early part of the night, height of the night, closing the night. LA is just an interesting market because Poppy and Bootsy open at 11.
Right.
You're almost doing an opener set, and because there's almost not enough time to have openers anymore. So
Right.
ever since we came back from the pandemic, like these clubs are kind of like, can you just open for yourself? And you're like, I mean, the night's basically 5 minutes long, so sure. Like I almost prefer it that way at
it's
this
so
point
true.
in LA versus in Miami, the night was like 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. and I would go on at 1:30 a.m. at like Rockwell. But here it's like the doors kind of open at 11, but not really till 11:15. The club doesn't get packed till 12:30. Then you have from 12:30 to 1:45 to kill it. Just slam it, slam it, slam it. 1:45 into like slow jams where everyone's nice and drunk and singing along like at the top of their lungs, and then 1:59 cut out, drinks down, lights on, harsh. Everyone
Yes.
out, like get out. Like,
So funny. That's like a perfect explanation of like LA nightlife. Like I've been doing this spot Fridays called Floor Room, and I was saying like I'll go on at 10, and people come at like 11:36 p.m. You know, it's like there's like 1 minute. Like you'll look, it's like 11:47.
it's literally
that's when human
empty,
beings walk in.
And then you look up and
Yeah.
every table's full.
Right. Then like 12:01, they're like there. 12:36, they're going crazy.
Yeah.
1:42, they're starting to leave. It's
Yeah.
like these, like you have like such a small amount
Yeah.
of time to like
Yeah.
get the right songs at the
It's
right
so
thing and
wild
get them in
to
there, and
adjust.
the timing has to be
Yeah.
like impeccable. And
Being
that's
in
what
an LA market and then going to a Miami market, and you're like,
yeah.
oh,
The night there's no
3-hour
ending.
headlining set. Like, well, it's like
Right.
it's learning to stretch out a set and incorporate so many more decades and years of songs
Right.
into your set. It's like freeing, but also at the same time you get back to LA and you're like,
Yeah.
condense it down to an hour and a half again.
I know. So how often do you do? So you do Bootsy and Poppy, or you're like your LA
Poppy
residencies?
and Bootsy Bellows once a month at each usually, and then
Okay.
like I'll throw in a Harriet's Rooftop or like a Mondrian pool, like a
Right.
a bungalow, Santa Monica, like random
Okay.
things like that. But for the most part, like my regular gigs are Poppy and Bootsy once a month, and then every week looks different for me because of special events like
Right.
the Creative Emmy Awards 2 weeks ago.
I
DJ'd,
saw
like,
you
the
just did
Netflix
that. The
after party
Netflix
for
Creative
that,
Emmy. Yeah, that's
which
so
was
cool.
like epic. And then like Patek Philippe came into town from New York, and they've been my client for like 10 years.
Oh,
counting.
wow.
Like, so every year I DJ stuff for them, and we stopped during the pandemic, and then this year they came back with 2 events like, we need you, and I was like,
They should have you wear like a watch on each hand.
I've
while
made
you're
a
doing
joke of like, how many DJ gigs, how many more years till I get a watch? And
Right?
the president is like,
Or at least put it on while you DJ, like one on each, and they film your arms. Like, that's good advertising right there.
that's also like 100,000 of merchandise. So like,
I mean, it's a good real TikTok video.
they'd have to have security posted on either side of me. Like,
Be like, this is a $200,000 DJ
Yeah.
set minus the DJ fee right here. Let's go.
so yeah, every week looks different.
Yeah, that's so cool.
It's kept it exciting over the last 20 years.
Right. And I mean, to talk about the past 3 years, I mean, your life, all of our lives have changed so much because of the pandemic. Like you said, you have a 2.5-year-old. So if you rewind 3 years, like there was no pandemic and you did not have a child.
3 years
You
ago.
then, like, your whole life got shut down professionally, but your other life as a mother got completely sort of birthed, I guess.
The pandemic almost did not play a big part into my life.
Well, it's interesting. It almost like
the
went,
timing
it helped, or it must have been nice in a way. But then after a while, now it's probably nice to be able to come back into, because, you know, us being LA locals, we were some of the most shut down people, I think, in the country. LA just kind of started having events again this year in like March, right? February, March, around Super Bowl, I remember was like the first events I saw coming back. And it's still slowly a roller coaster up and down for the events. You know, I get hit up for a lot of events, and then they go, oh, they're going to use a playlist, or they're just going to do a dinner, or they're going to do a small
I'm still
screening.
getting things like that
and
still.
It's
like
not the same.
I would normally do the SNL Emmys party every year, and this year they were like, they just did a small private thing
or a
with
dinner,
like
or
40 people and a playlist, and I was like, oh, okay.
You're
But they're like, next year we'll be
please."
back. I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
but
I'm
like,
like, I'm
there's
ready.
always like, I think the second half of this year picked up to
Right.
the point where it almost felt like pre-pandemic. So I was like, oh wow, things are back. Like for me.
Yeah. So how does that feel for
but
you? That's what I was wondering.
My life looks way different because before the pandemic, I was flying to Miami every other weekend
remember.
to do like Rockwell,
Oh my God.
Miami,
Yeah.
and sometimes live. So I was
Right,
like,
I'm like, is she living in Miami? Because I was seeing you do
no,
back and
the
forth.
club live. Like,
no, I know. But
I
I was saying,
wasn't living there.
It seemed like you
Yeah.
were living there, because I'm like, she's playing there and she's playing here and she's going all over.
No, I would literally do like Poppy on a Friday night
Yeah.
and wake up at
Crazy.
7 a.m. and get on the 11 a.m. flight to Miami, land there at like 9 p.m. and then get ready, because my set wasn't until 1:30 in the morning. So then I
Right.
had like 4 hours till my set to like go do makeup, get ready, and then go to the club, DJ till 4 or 5 a.m. and then sometimes get on the 7 a.m. flight home. And now when I think about that, I'm like, thank God that's not my life anymore.
Right.
Loved it at the time. That was like, I was really like just on cloud 9 those years of like doing clubs in LA, flying to Miami every other weekend, just having that freedom, no kids, no responsibilities,
Right.
just your DJ career. And like that was an amazing time in my life. And then Rockwell actually sold their lease during the pandemic. So that was like no longer on my schedule. And then my baby, I got pregnant in 2019, still DJ'd all the way up till 8 months pregnant, like that January. February, my toddler was born. 2 or 3 weeks later, lockdown. And so it's funny because I had no idea.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was my timeline. And I had no idea that having a child, I mean, I don't want to scare people out there, but it wrecks your body.
Well, I mean,
it
changes everything.
Yeah, it
You know what I
changes
mean?
everything.
Yeah.
Your lifestyle, and then for females, there's a recovery from labor and delivery.
Right.
And so I had like DJ gigs, like my baby was born February 11th, and I had DJ gigs scheduled February 15th.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
things like, and then
And you're
like,
like,
I was
no.
like, not going to make that anymore. And then like slowly gigs started getting canceled as lockdown became a real thing.
Right.
And with every gig that got canceled, I felt a sense of relief.
Yeah.
Because I was literally living in like pajamas, maybe wearing pants, I can't remember, like with a newborn on my
Right.
lap, like figuring out the
Like
entire
perfect
world
timing.
of like new motherhood, sleeping 1 hour and in it, like literally 1 hour a night, and like I mean, it was just like, it was a whole new, like, I was like literally in mom university in my house. I'm actually very much of a homebody if I'm not at the club turning up. I'm at home turning down. I do not.
Down for what?
Even though I still stay up till 4 a.m. I'm still staying up till 4 a.m. for no reason at my house. I just am a homebody anyways. So I just like, I with every gig that got canceled with the lockdown and the pandemic, and then my husband also works in the nightlife industry and he's in the hotel industry. Okay. And so his whole industry got shut down, and he went back to work like for 2 days, and then lockdown began, and I was like, oh, thank God, I need help. I can't be alone with a child. Like having him at home, that support system, and then like gigs getting canceled, I was like, the quiet part that I wasn't supposed to say out loud was, oh, thank God. Like I cannot leave that. I don't want to get off my couch right now. I don't want to put on makeup and do my whole to-do hour and a half, get ready to go out to the club and like have that energy to turn up. Like I didn't have that. So I was very happy that like my gigs got canceled by default without me. It's very hard for DJs in general to say, I don't want that gig. I'm not going to do that work. I'm going to turn down that money. Saying no is literally the hardest thing for us. And so I have to work on that, having that boundary within myself to turn down gigs. And the pandemic did it for me. Yeah, it gives you the practice for it. And now you can come back into it being a little stronger, more selective. Being like, you come back and guess what? We don't have to talk about Twitch. Skipped that whole thing. Like I'm here to as a testament to other DJs. Could have had the raising a baby and DJing Twitch. Yeah, I know. I'm here to say that it's okay if you don't do Twitch. Your career, like my career, did not like get flushed down the toilet. Like as soon as literally the first weekend that clubs opened back up, I was back in the clubs. Yeah. It was just that they didn't open back up till 2021, really. Right. Yeah, 2021. Like April of 2021, got the call from Jen Rosero, come to, I want you to be our Saturday night bungalow DJ, and we're bringing it back. And I'm bringing DJs back. I was like, great. Nice. Like I was just like right back in the club, like nothing happened. Right. Nobody in the clubs are wearing masks. Oh, I remember that. I almost wonder if like the clubs, I thought to myself, actually, are the clubs the safest place to be? Because all these people don't give and they've had COVID probably 3 times. The antibodies in this space are probably insane because these people are not mask wearers and like just get COVID over and over again, and now they're like super immune. So maybe actually being in the club is the most like safe place to be. At least isn't bungalow outside? Or no, I don't know. A bungalow is outside, but yeah, Poppy and Bootsy are absolutely indoors. Oh yeah, poor air circulation. Inside, everyone. I mean, I know smoking's illegal, but not in these nightclubs. Like everyone's smoking. Oh yeah. And especially with like weed being legal. I come home and have to completely shower head to toe because everything smells like weed and smoke and whatever. And I'm pretty sure the one time I caught COVID was from Fabulous. At Bootsy, but like I can pinpoint the night, right? And I was like the only like person in the club wearing a mask while DJing because I still wanted to be like responsible and not take COVID home to my toddler and parents and husband. So I'm like wearing a mask in the club, and Fabulous was performing at Bootsy like January of this year, 2022, I think, when Omicron was like at its height, and I had to keep taking my mask off January, to discuss, to like I discuss his set. Too. Yeah, I was like, "You're gonna do this song, okay? No, now you want this song next, okay?" And then like that week, I got COVID, and I was like, "I got it from Fabulous. I know it." I mean, not, I don't know it. COVID. I don't know. Yeah, FABOCOVID. Sorry. No, I mean, if Fabulous ever listens to this, he'd be like, "What?" I mean, it's so. That was a very crowded DJ booth that night, and people were talking to me this close. Yeah, like people are all up in my face, literally like passing weed like over my head and in front of my face. So I'm like, you know, I told you before, Poppy and Bootsy sell the DJ booth as a bottle service table. So literally your space is taken out from under you. By the end of the night, I'm squished up. You must have some of the craziest stories ever from... I'm squished up against the DJ equipment. They've sold the table for $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. Or the rapper whatever artist is performing. That's their guest Their entourage comes into the DJ booth, and now you're squished up against and you're like, excuse me, I just need to get to that CDJ. Oh, I just need to... Oh, sorry. Excuse me, I just got to do my job. I just hear, I just need to cue the next song. Like, that's literally how it is at the end of the night. People
Yeah.
are literally in your armpits. And so I am surprised. Yeah, I only caught COVID once, and I'm pretty sure it was from Bootsy that night.
And for people listening at like Poppy and Bootsy are primarily at this point like hip hop clubs, right? Like,
I feel like all clubs in LA want hip hop right now. I mean, no, not like epic.
Well,
big
certain clubs. There's
yeah.
some of the bottle service clubs are very hip hop heavy, and then there's LA's so huge that we have every different kind of club, but those are primarily
hip-hop
like you
heavy,
said, you need to be up on all the newest hip hop stuff to be able to
and
kill
then
it
I
there.
still like in my mind and in my heart like want to keep like the DJ AM flame alive, which is like going to Banana Split Sundays in the mid 2000s,
right?
Like,
and just mixing in other genres.
Yeah,
and stuff.
you, Mike B, AM, like all of you guys in the DJ booth, like just every single genre, like nothing was off limits. Like that's what makes my fire burn the brightest. And so I try to bring an element of that even into hip hop clubs.
Nice.
Sometimes works, sometimes they're like, get back to hip hop.
Right.
But like, throwing in a little Red Hot Chili Peppers a cappella isn't going to hurt anybody.
Yeah.
For like 10 seconds, So I still try to keep a little bit of that alive, even though hip hop is very predominant right now in the clubs. But then you go to Miami and Vegas and it's everything. It's multi-genre again. But LA is...
Yeah, Vegas, they want hip hop, but it's not as much. They need that high energy. LA tends to not dance totally, so the hip hop still works because it's just kind of like background or like sexy music or something like that.
But when you cut the music in the whole club in LA, like if you cut the music or whatever and the whole club raps to a line or sings to a line, that's the definition of success in LA.
Right.
You're not going to get a
head.
huge dance party.
Yeah.
But if you cut it and the whole crowd raps the lyric and then you come back, you're like, I have them.
Right.
That's how you have an LA crowd.
What are the big songs right now? Are there any?
Oh my God, I just heard you talking about this in the last two podcasts. I don't have one for this year. I don't.
No,
remember
it's
when
kind of the same ones from last year you play and they're singing
before the
along.
pandemic, it was like My Type by Sweetie and like City Girls Act Right. Like you were like, those are the songs of the moment right now.
It's
I
almost
still
like
play
they
those.
still are, yeah.
I still play those and they still get a huge thing, like a huge reaction. I don't know. I heard like Crooked say on the Road podcast, Burna Boy, Last. I play that. It gets a right
but
response.
that's not huge in LA, I don't think, is
Bad
it?
Bunny.
Right, Bad Bunny,
Pregunta, like that's... It gets a response, but
is there any hip hop song I wonder that's like a song that we played this summer? There's Drake, but it wasn't really.
No, because Drake's album came out and it was
song.
like,
it's made for the lounges in a way.
No, but I play Sticky, I play Massive, I play those songs off the new Drake album, and they get a rise out of people. Like Jimmy Cooks, all those get rises out of people.
They actually work for those kind of clubs.
They work in the club very well, but there wasn't one song that, sometimes you're like, a song comes out and you build your whole night around when you're going to play that, when you're going to,
and the
most
BPM
epic
of it and the vibe
moment
of it,
to drop that song.
Yeah.
I get to Poppy, I get to Bootsy, and I go with the flow.
Right.
Whatever I want to play. Like,
Such
I know
a weird year
there's
for
like,
DJing.
There's artists that I know people really like right now, and so I like 42 Doug. For some reason, any song you play by 42 Doug in the club gets a huge reaction. But like, there isn't a single specific song where it's the song of the night. I don't feel that right now.
Yeah, it's true. It was a weird summer for being a DJ.
Yeah.
All over the place,
we
especially hip hop.
But what's cool is that these international songs are like huge hits. Like a Burna Boy song being a huge hit, we wouldn't have seen that 3 years ago.
Yeah.
4 years ago. Like WizKid Essence being such a big hit last year, we wouldn't have seen that before. Like people being like, you're telling me that Afrobeat songs are like the trending songs?
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah. That we wouldn't have seen that happen 3 years ago. And then even just the fact that like Peppas was a song of the year.
Right.
Very epic song for last year. Like, it's just interesting.
Bad Bunny. Songs that are not in English.
Like 3 songs off Bad Bunny's new album are like the biggest songs of the night in the club. It's just very interesting. I love it. I love it.
Me
because
too.
like I used to play and like one of my annual residencies was in Tanzania at Dar es Salaam, and my world got cracked wide open with like going and playing there.
What was that like?
They just wanted to hear hip hop, and I just wanted to like trade music with everybody there. Like, give me all your Afro beats tunes, and like I would play that, and that would get a rise out of people because they're seeing this girl from California play all this like Nigerian and Tanzanian and South African music. And I mean, DJing.
How did that come about? Like, how did you end up with that residency?
I was DJing an Ice Cream Sundays party at Lock and Key with Sean G and a party promoter named Amor with a company called We Outchias. He was out at Ice Cream Sundays, and a friend of him from New York told him, hey, my girl Lady Sha's playing, check her out. And he came up to me after and was like, I'm bringing you out to Dar es Salaam, Tanzania to play our parties. And I was like, yeah, haha.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we hear that every week of our life.
And like for me, that I was like, don't joke around about that. Like in 2004, I started DJing in 2002 because my neighbor at UC Berkeley. Sorry, this is getting into a whole history. But
no, please. I want to know about it. That was part of the
I was pre-med at UC Berkeley. Super, like I'm Persian. Wow. It was a super Persian thing to do. I was pre-med at UC Berkeley, 2002. My neighbor was DJ Fatrick. I always like played guitar and piano and sang. Like I was like a little Ani DiFranco vibe girl, like just doing my little like Lilith Fair thing, like at open mics, and then being pre-med. Because I was like, well, gotta be a doctor, can't be a musician. How silly to think that. Yeah. And then my neighbor was DJ Fatrick. He started a DJ course on campus. Like students could start their own classes at UC Berkeley. And
that's crazy. Like, 20 years ago.
Yeah, he was like, I'm gonna start. I think it was summer of 2001 or 2002. He was like, I'm gonna start a DJ course on campus. I just need people to fill the seats. And he knew I was like into music and stuff. He's like, can you just like come be a seat filler in the class so that the class can get on its legs and get funding from the school.
So cool.
And I literally got first day of class. I sat there. He talked about the like intro to DJing, the history of DJing. 2 weeks later, I drove into the city with my roommates and bought turntables off some guy from Craigslist.
Wow.
And brought them home. Got I think Gemini mixer from the guy threw in a Gemini mixer for free with my turntables purchase that I purchased for $700 cash. 2 like techniques that I still have to this day.
Amazing.
Started going, and I lifeguarded and taught swim lessons to make money, and would buy records at the record store, like all kinds of records from hip hop to soul, reggae, everything. And I just like,
well, you're in Berkeley, so you had Rasputin and Amoeba, like the 2 best record stores.
And like there's actually 3 record stores, and I would just spend like walk out with my receipt of like $279, $350, and it's wild. That still seems like a lot of money to me to this day.
Oh, crazy!
And I spent that much money, but you had to buy records to then play parties and get money back. So it was like a break-even game.
Yeah,
in those early years,
it's so true.
Buy records, get paid by the gig. It was like you
figure out how to make money
you did
any way
for
possible,
love, and then drag your turntables, and then I would just like put the records into rolling suitcases and roll up to the gig with like rolling suitcases.
That's smart.
And then I graduated Berkeley anthropology and still pre-med, like double majoring in that. Graduated, moved home to LA in 2005 and told my parents I'm going to be a DJ, and they were like, yeah, right. And I'm like, but it's just funny to this day, DJ Fatrick completely changed my life that day when he was like, I just need a seat filler. Just bring your body and put it in a seat in this class. You don't actually need to care about DJing, whatever. Just come be in the class so we can have this student-led class take off. And it changed the course of the rest of my life.
That's like the power of yes. Like you just say yes to things, and then you never know where it'll take you.
You never know, but also what it was my real passion and love in life has always been music.
Right.
And I just didn't think me playing guitar on a sidewalk for change was going to be my path. And I didn't want it to be my path. And then all of a sudden DJing was like, here's a way to live and work in the music industry and make money immediately. Because like the second you even just, for better or worse, the moment you say, I am a DJ, people are like, oh, I have this house party. Can you DJ it? Oh, I have this. Can you come open for me here? Like all the gigs were just there. Like, and it was, I mean, some of them, I was DJing so many nights for free just to get the exposure. And then to bring it back to full circle to Africa, 2004, I studied abroad in South Africa at the University of KwaZulu-Natal in Durban. So there, I got there I thought it was just going to be like, you know, my study abroad experience. I didn't take records with me. I got there and there was this club called Bat Center in Durban, just like the sickest hip hop parties I'd ever seen. I got there, I was like, oh my God, I want to DJ this party. At that point, I'd only been DJing 2 or 3 years. And I went to a record store, bought a bunch of records. I bought like, you know, a couple Nas records, Lauryn Hill, Bob Marley record, Michael Jackson, whatever the record store had, I bought it. And then the university had a room with turntables and a mixer for some reason. Cool. So I would just sign up and like go practice my set for hours in this little room and then ask the Bat Center guys to hire me. And they started hiring me every week to DJ there, and they would just be like, and here is this girl from California, like she's gonna DJ now. Oh my God. And then they would I just remember, like I was telling you earlier, in those early years, I really felt that being a female DJ meant you had to be twice as good as a male DJ for half the recognition. Because I remember in those early years getting up to DJ my set at Bat Center. I would look to, the crowd was dancing. They were like, cool, whatever. We're here to have a good time. I would look to my left and right and it would be like 16 DJs on the stage like this. And I'm like why is she there? I should
waiting.
Be there. They all DJ at this club, but they are waiting for me to mess up.
Yeah.
They are watching me and waiting for me, and I did mess up many times. There were times, like in those early years, the I would say that the best way to learn is to DJ in public and in clubs, and like you can DJ hours in your bedroom, which I did. I put hours and hours into my bedroom, but it's when you DJ out in a club that the learning curve is like exponentially, like intensely, like you learn so much from that experience. I mean, I would be DJing and cueing the next song in my headphones and switch the crossfader to that deck, not realizing the volume was down. So I would be like, yeah, and then look up and the club is like staring at me because it's silent out there. And like that happened just once, and I'll remember it for the rest of my life. That moment where I looked up.
It's like you have to make those mistakes to learn from it.
I had both headphones on, like both ears on. So I'm like, yeah, I killed that blend. And I look up and they're like, I was like,
that is
so
hilarious.
I like turned. You remember those? I'm sure I've made 1,000 mistakes, but the ones you make in public in the beginning, you remember those for the rest of your life. Sure. You know damn well I never did that again because that moment was so like, but I knew like all these DJs are sitting here, promoters, DJs, club owners, they're just waiting. They're giving you a chance and waiting for you to prove that female DJs are not as good as male DJs. And I remember talking to some veteran female DJs in the Bay Area, like, oh, what's your advice back in the day? And they'd be like, be impeccable, practice your blends, be like blend queen, like beat matching queen, like just get it down so that you can be like flawless.
Yeah.
And like to leave very little room for other people to criticize you and be like, see, this is why like females shouldn't DJ.
Right.
But this is like, I'm talking 20 years ago. Now the landscape's completely different. Now that there shouldn't be different advice for females versus males. Just be good. Everybody, all genders, just be good. Make sure you're good before you step out in front of the... But anyways.
Make sure you're good. Make sure you care about it. You're doing it for the right reasons. And like we're all just DJs at this point.
Yeah.
And I don't think we need to focus on the female, male,
but
no gender, whatever.
Back then it was way more of an anomaly to see like a female on the decks and people would be like, whoa. But it just like as an aside, to this day, people at the end of the night at Poppy and Bootsy will come up to the DJ booth and tell the lighting guy, great set tonight. And I'm like, I'm wearing headphones in front of
a dude
DJ
behind
Lady
some buttons.
Sha.
He must be the
Yeah,
DJ.
there's my DJ.
Yeah.
There's my I got passionate. There's my DJ Lady Sha laptop.
Yeah.
I'm wearing headphones and here's the DJ equipment.
Right.
And they go to the lighting guy 5 feet over with two screens in front of him. And they're like, hey man, great set tonight. And I'm like, and my lighting guys are always like, oh, it was her. She was the DJ. It was her. And then they look at me and they're like, oh. And I'm like, cool.
It's
just
so
20
stupid.
years into
There's
the
that
game,
stigma,
and there's still a little bit of, Anyways, to bring it back to Africa, I was DJing that Ice Cream Sundays party, and he was like, I'm going to bring you to Tanzania to DJ. And I was like, no way, because I have such an emotional connection to that time in my life where
it's so
I was
crazy.
DJing
I didn't
clubs.
realize that whole
I was like
connection.
DJing the South African club scene, like from Durban, Cape Town, Johannesburg.
Yeah.
Like I just made my rounds that whole semester abroad, and to then be asked to come back to Africa, 15 years later, at that point, it was like 9 years later, was like full circle for me personally. Like, wow, I've made it.
Amazing.
If I'm being asked to go back to the country where I made all my worst mistakes in front of all, and I mean, Tanzania and South Africa are very close to each other, but not the same. But just to be in the southern region of Africa, near where I sort of, got my club chops, was just like, for me, I'm like, going back to Africa. I made it.
That's incredible. What a cool story. That's amazing. Have you gone back to South Africa at all?
Haven't been back to South Africa yet, but I do get to go to Tanzania like every year since then, except haven't been back in a few years because of the pandemic.
Pandemic
but
life.
yeah, I can't wait
So
to
cool.
go back.
So you must really be loving all the Afro beats, the explosion of the African
what
music.
was amazing to me was that now Afro beats is like as prevalent here in the hip hop club scene as it was there when I was playing there, like hearing it in everybody's cars.
In London, it was crazy. I was out there and
London,
it was like, as big as hip hop, it seems like, in certain ways.
I'm so happy about that.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
huge.
make it international. Like, let's get Arabic music up in the mix. Like, let's get
That's
Persian
true.
music. Let's
because
get,
like you're seeing the number one album is not in English. You know what I mean? It's Bad Bunny. We've got Afro beats. K-pop, like there's it's almost like all the different cultures and all the different types of music are getting their turn to come and have, shine among everybody.
And I'm sure for them, these artists in other countries, for their song to be trending on US radio has to be epic as well, because that's like, wow, now you're on Sirius. Now you're just like Power 106 is playing it. Like, to me, that's amazing, and I fully welcome that. Like, let's get out of one genre clubs.
And like Arabic music is so funky in so many ways and can be remixed in so many
Latin
ways
music
that like
and Arabic music
it's gonna all go together.
So well.
Yeah, same with Afro beats, dancehall, Jamaican music, like
reggae, all of that.
It just shows how connected human beings are, as a whole, and shows how music connects us all, and that's why being a DJ is so cool and
it's like
global.
The more opportunity we have to play different genres in a set, the more excited we are.
Yeah.
And it's no fun if only the DJ is excited. It's way more fun when you play a WizKid or Burna Boy track and the whole club sings along to it. Then you're like, this is beautiful. This is epic.
Yeah. And we were just playing with the Serato stems. Shout to Serato. Right before we started recording, and I was putting in Afro beats, drum break underneath the Elton John Dua Lipa song, and it totally changed the vibe. And it's crazy just to see how now we're going to be able to really remix things and take the bass line of one type of music and the drums from another and the singing from another. And it just shows how everything is so connected and we're all one, but is also so different, and then you can just like, I don't know, all the different cultures coming together in this like seamless way. It's such a cool.
And there's going to be tons of opportunities to kill it with playing an Afrobeat beat under
oh my God,
whatever.
I'm so excited to see
American
what comes out of all of this.
I just want to say, like, this beta 3.0 has been out for like
5 minutes.
5 minutes, 24
like
hours.
Day,
and I feel like it should have come with a disclaimer of like, we do not need to return to the 2006, 2007 mashup era. Oh my God, I hated when club owners would be
I have noticed that everybody's saying that.
I don't want to hear another Linkin Park over a Jay-Z beat, over a Sweet Home Alabama chorus, I don't want that.
I hear you, but I feel like on the other hand, there's a few things I got to say.
Use
number one,
3.0 responsibly.
Right. That's already, but everyone's acting like that wasn't happening. That's what's been TikTok, and all the reels have blown up from people doing that the past 2-3 years. We're doing these mashups, and they were already creating the acapella and putting it over it. So I don't think that this is going to, like, if anything, it's going to make it better in a way, and people have more options to put it together. But I hear you. I feel like that's been a big comment on Twitter the past couple of days, and I'm like, The other thing I've noticed is that some of the people talking shit about that stuff are also the people that are making bad things. So I'm like, hey guys, look in the mirror. But who knows? Like,
just don't give me your 50 Cent Rolling Stone mashup. I don't need it. I don't want it.
I'm gonna play that. That's me right there. Sorry, people. That's what I do. I'm still playing the 2006 mashups. You guys can hate on me all you want.
Only the really good ones, like Z Trip did.
Some good ones.
He did a Don Penn No over Mims. This Is Why I'm Hot beat, and I play that to this day. That
Still
was
good.
a tastefully done. Kills it in the
Steve
club
Wonder
mashup.
did that, did Z Trip?
Z Trip did that, and then I have Steve Wonder.
Steve has one with that,
mashups
too.
too that I play, and Crooked.
Yeah.
Like
Steve
I have
has
all
some
kinds of
horrible ones and
mashups.
some good ones.
Yeah.
Love you, Steve. No,
I would get on the blogs and download all of them.
He got
back in
married,
the
and I
day.
was like, we should go and just do a set of his worst mashups at his wedding. And then I'm like, the DJ needs to play Conga Shake, his like best mashup,
I have that.
like
I
20
still
times
play
in a
that.
row.
Yeah.
But I don't think that happened. By the time the DJ got on at his wedding, I don't even know what was going on. We had drank a lot. But yes, I feel you. It's use it responsibly, everyone. It's going to lead to a lot of bad shit, but that's DJing. That's like anything else. Like the ability for all of us to make video edits and graphic design edits. And, it's all the graphic designers are like, oh, they're making horrible Photoshops. And we're bearing the brunt of it now too as DJs. Everybody has access to everything. Every kid in my son's class knows what DJing is, and a lot of them do it, and everybody, everywhere, and everybody's doing it. I mean, people's moms are DJs now, and, that's the way it is. If you're a socialite, a lot of these socialite people want to be DJs because they're used to getting attention, and they're like, oh, this is a new way to get attention.
Totally.
So I get it, and
I would say that don't get mad when you see that, because as quickly as they got in the game is how quickly they get out of it.
Yes,
It's
the
just
cream
that
rises to the top.
After this many years, I mean, it's crazy. I'm only 27. No, I'm just.
Oh, me too.
But yeah, like 27's been my club age for a while now. But anyways, I've seen a lot of these DJs come and go, like influencer DJs, celebrity DJs.
The only ones that stay around are ones that know how to put in the work. I mean, I know probably gonna get a lot of hate from the people, but it's like, Paris Hilton, Pauly D, like some of those people, yes, maybe they'll get people that like them and people that hate them. I'm not saying any, trying to give my opinion.
But they went all in.
But they've gone all in, and they have a genuine passion for it, and they're putting in the work, and they're some of the ones that have stayed around. I mean, Pauly D especially is somebody that was a DJ and then became this famous Jersey Shore guy.
At the
end
end
then,
of the day, he knew where his bread and butter was coming from.
So, but I think a lot of the other people just kind of come into it and then go, oh, this is hard, or and fall out of it, and or models,
or it's just a cute
whoever.
thing to do for this. It's a cute look for this one event, for this makeup company, and then boom, it's fine. There's more than enough work to go around for everybody.
Also, to those people or other people out there, my message is, you can have a hobby. Like, you don't need to be a professional at everything. You know what I mean? Just like, if I started knitting, I don't need to knit blankets and sell it. I could just knit on the side. Like, you can DJ for fun in your house, and you don't need to be a professional and try to get a job. That's the other thing. Or you can make music, or there's people that play acoustic guitar for fun. You don't, not everything has to be monetized. We're living in the monetization age where it's like, if you're into something, you better turn it into an NFT or do a thing, or, whatever it is.
That do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
Right. That's true. But at the same time,
we work really hard.
You're going to find, we still do work hard. We still do have our ups and downs, So, there's, we'll see. It's ever evolving. But I think at the end of the day, we've put in the work and we're still here. And, I think
that's the testament of this podcast is that a lot of your guests have been DJing 15 to 20 years at this point.
Right.
And we're here to say, we went through the 2008 recession, came back. We are going through, we went through the pandemic. We are back at work. We may be going through another recession. We're still working through it, whatever that may look like.
Yeah.
A lot of DJs jumped on Twitch. A lot of DJs like myself just stayed home and did nothing and just kept up with music and tuned into other people's Twitches while breastfeeding.
Right.
So there was no way I was going to be able to set up a Twitch studio in my house with baby and neighbors and stuff like that. So it just didn't, and I was not even worried about it. I was like, it's fine. People were freaking out and I was like,
Well, everyone has
People
their
will
own
always
path,
want
you know?
to party. The
Yeah.
parties will come
Well,
back.
that's what that when, like you said, we made it through the recession, and those were some of the biggest
I remember
years.
2008,
you know?
like events, just like kind of event budgets.
Yeah, but
DJ
clubs
budgets,
went
like, disappeared.
crazy,
Yeah.
and it was because people just wanted to go forget their troubles or whatever it was, you know. But
DJ rates were like sad, and it was. I mean, club DJ rates actually haven't changed much since the mid 2000s. Club DJ rates in LA, at least, still are.
Right. Now's the time. We need to raise that up, everybody. Let's come together. Raise the rates.
Actually, to talk about rates, I do believe in like talking about rate transparency. I've hit you up on DM and been like, hey, what do you
we've talked about it.
We've worked for this venue together. What do you charge them?
Yeah.
What should I charge them? And was yours a one-off special event, or is it a residency? Like, you and I have talked about rates. I don't know that 15 years ago I would have felt comfortable talking to you about rates, but especially when it comes to like your peers, I feel like the more we talk about our rates out loud for like special events versus club events. I mean, DJs hit me up all the time. Hey, I got this offer. What should I quote? And I tell them what I'd quote. And
you need
then
like Glassdoor for
like,
DJs, or
and
where
I'm
you can
just
see
like,
everybody's rates.
The more we all charge and the more we all fight for like equal pay and higher rates and better rates, like I think I've heard DJs talk about how they're not getting paid much more in the clubs than they were 15 years ago. That's crazy. When inflation and everything else has gone up, club rates just stay what they're at. And like I told you earlier, I see receipts on the floor at the end of the night at these clubs with $13,000 tabs, $15,000 tabs, like minimum $5,000 to buy a table. Yeah, DJ rates stay the same. And I know there's a whole lot that goes into the business of running a club that I don't know about, but I think it is okay for us to be discussing our rates with each other more and more, because if I can display to you that you can ask for more money and I get you paid a higher rate, and then in turn that brings all of our value up collectively.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I'm all about like, don't be afraid to talk about money with your fellow DJs, because it shouldn't be a secret.
Right. And if some of these clubs are so, scrutinizing you so hard on every song that's played, and it's so important to all of the music and the timing and all the stuff, so then you should pay that person more money if it's that important, Mm-hmm. I agree.
On the flip side of it, there's many DJs that will argue that there's a million DJs that would kill for that slot and would do it for much less money.
But will they do the good job? That's the thing, so go for it. Get those DJs, but then you'll see what happens at the end of the day. They haven't had all the experience or all the failures to lead up to being able to be successful, and it's like you said, like we've been through all of this. A lot of the people that have those 10, 15, 20-year careers they all have their own path. That's the thing, is that everyone that comes on this show has a completely different story. And I think that that's something to remember. And like people texting me, like asking, how can I get into corporate events, or how can I get into clubs, or how do I get into Vegas? And I tell them what I think, but it's my advice. You can only take it so far, a lot of it's going to be about yourself.
I think everyone's story is so unique. Like, there are people like, Michelle Page came from a PR background, and those coworkers from back in the day are the same ones hiring her for private events. Or Daisy Odell used to book me to DJ at the Standard.
Yeah, same.
And so she's been in both the on the booking side of things, the DJ side of things, and as herself a musician and performer and singer side of things. So like everyone's path to getting to where you are is, DJ Ivy has one foot in the fashion world and one foot in the DJ world, and has been walking that path for years now successfully. And so it's just so cool to see every DJ and their background and how they got to where they got. And at the end of the day, I really understand now, all these years into it, that it's really about the connections you make when you're out, not begging people for work, but literally just showing up, meeting people, and you never know, in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, they're the ones that hire you and ask you to get into these special events and high-paying corporate events. It's not something you can force. It's something that you just do. You just be good, and you do have to put in the legwork of going out to parties and events and showing up and just showing face, and you will eventually find your place in the DJ world and DJ events world. Like, the other night I was driving back from this private party, like in the Palisades, like this beautiful event in the Palisades, and I drove by Ewan McGregor's house, and it like really jogged my memory of how this all came about. The party that I was DJing that night was because years and years and years earlier, like Ewan McGregor's assistant, this wonderful woman, Shima, hit me up saying she saw a DJ at this other event and asked them who the DJ was, and it was me, and she asked me if I could come DJ this party. I show up, it was Ewan McGregor's birthday, and there was a woman at that party that then recommended me to an event planner that did another party a few weeks later, and that event planner was who I was DJing the party for in the Palisades 5 years later. And it hit me like a bomb, like just driving by the street that Ewan used to live on, and like realizing how the party I was DJing last month is related to this party at his house from years before. And like Ewan McGregor's one of my favorite actors in the whole world. I'd never imagined I'd be DJing his birthday at his house. Like, you never know where your career is going to take you. And I would have never, ever predicted that in a million years. And so when people say, how did you get to where you are? How do you break into special events, corporate events, high-end, high-paying events? It just happened. And it had nothing to do with all the mixtapes and business cards I passed out for 15 years. It had nothing to do. I used to make my mixes, then get my friends who are graphic designers to make the cover, the track list, pay hundreds of dollars to print out CDs back when everyone had CD players in their cars. Like that was the thing. You could pass out CDs and people would pop it in their car on the way home from the club. Those didn't lead to, that was fun. Everybody still talks about those mixes, and they will be in their attic and come across one of my mixes and be like, I found this mix from 13 years ago that you gave me. And that's really cool. But that's not what got me these corporate events or high-end events this day. So that's why it's so hard to answer that question for people.
Right. But what do you think what were some of the first events you did, or how you kind of got into that corporate event or private event circuit versus the club event circuit?
I feel like they went hand in hand. It had to have been people seeing me in the clubs.
Right. I remember you were doing Bar Lubitsch a lot.
I was doing
because
little
I
bars.
would do this place, Winston's, that was about a block away from Bar Lubitsch. So many events came from people just seeing me on a Monday night there.
Yeah, no, I did Winston's Saturdays.
Yeah,
I did
you
Bar
used to do
Lubitsch
Winston's
Fridays,
all the time.
Crown
Bar.
Okay, so also...
And doing those were like the LA it was like 2006, 2007 LA hotspot,
like,
loungy
that's where
type
Rihanna
thing.
Would be. Not at there wasn't
right,
like
and then those
big,
would
huge
lead
bottle
to a lot
service
of events. You're right.
Yeah, the celebrities would be at these little hole in the wall bars like the Dime, Winston's, and
how did you get into those? Like when you came back in 2005 and you told your parents you were going to be a DJ. What were your first spots? Like, would you go out? You said coming out to see me, or what would you?
I would just look up clubs and like look up what nights they were popping, and I would just go either by I also had just had ACL surgery, so I would go to a lot of these clubs like literally in crutches with like a huge cast on my like I was recovering from ACL surgery from like too many, like I used to bomb hills in UC Berkeley skateboarding, like longboard skateboarding, and shredded my ACL. So that I would be at clubs in crutches. A lot of people to this day would be like, I remember when you would show up to the club in crutches and because that was 2005. Like ACL recovery is like 5 to 9 months or something like that. So I was like,
at least you have like a weapon, like self-defense.
Yeah, I would be just like parked up in the club, like, and then meeting DJs, meeting promoters. One of my first gigs, like a promoter offered me remember that club Hollywood in Highland?
Yeah,
What's it called?
Ohm or something, or no, it was something else.
Wait, before then. Because, LA nightclubs have like more of a 2 to 3 year run versus
I don't remember what it was called, but
I think it was called Highlands.
I was going to say it was called the Highlands.
Yeah. And so they had like the main room and then like the back room, VIP room. So this promoter, this is like back in the day how you would break into the biz, was the promoter would be like, bring 25 people and I'll let you DJ the back. Like those kind of deals that like these Hollywood promoters would give you. And I was like, okay. So I would like hit up all my friends in LA and be like, I'm DJing at Highland, like, say my name at the door to get in, and then I would roll up with my records, because at that time, like 2005, I still didn't have Serato. When did Serato come out? 2006?
Yeah, it was about then, but I don't think any of us were using
like
it in the club. Not many people were using it in the club till
a year or two that I
2006,
still had to
2007,
take records to the
Right,
clubs after I moved
for
to
sure.
LA in 2005, back home to LA in 2005. So I would roll up with my rolling suitcase of records, and like one of my very first gigs, they didn't even open the back room. I DJ'd for an empty room because the club's goal is to pack the main room before they open the back room VIP room.
Yeah.
And so I played in there all night long, and I was like, why is it empty? Why is it empty? They never opened the door. Like, not even my own friends, my 25 friends that came out, they couldn't even get into the room because the club security wouldn't open that.
Oh, and you're back in the back room
I'm
DJing
in the
for nobody.
VIP
That's
room,
amazing.
that special back room, doing a DJ set for the bartenders because they didn't even open the room that night because they were
The
so
bartenders
focused on
are really
packing
doing nothing.
Yeah, they everyone was worried about more packing the main room
Right.
before they lose half the crowd to the back room.
Yeah.
And so that was like one of my first memories of DJing at a Hollywood club. DJing, like my friends would sneak in, say hi to me, and then be like, "Okay, we're going back out to the club." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, I'll be here, waiting for them
"Thanks
to
for
open
getting
the
us in."
doors." Yeah, so there was a lot of that. There was like working with different promoters that I met in Hollywood, and
Right.
at the end of the day, they're just trying to get people into their club. So if you're a
Yeah.
DJ that can bring your friends, they would hire you and pay you what, $50, $100, $150 back in the day, and I just did that, and then I started opening for bigger DJs at like a bunch of clubs. Then opened like Block, Opera, Eden, like those clubs opened up, and I would DJ. I would be the opener DJ for the headliners there. And then it just naturally happens. A DJ calls out sick, and they call you like, "Can you be here in 5 minutes to headline?" And you just have to be ready to say yes. Like
Right.
whatever you're wearing, whatever you're doing, drop it and run to the club to be the headlining DJ that night. That's just what happens to you as an opener. You become a reliable, consistent source for club owners and promoters. And then when that opportunity comes, they text you like, "Can you be here?" Or like, I remember I was opening for Rick Rude once, and he was like, "I can't make it. Get to the club now." And I don't even remember what club it was. I was like, "Okay." And then from there, like they started hiring me as a like headliner. So
Yeah.
I remember the transition from
You gotta be ready to
opener
show up,
to
you know?
headliner. You just have to be ready
Yeah.
at the drop of a hat to all of a sudden be put into the headliner slot, because things happen for DJs, for owners. They double book, they book on the wrong dates. All of a sudden they realize at 10:30 p.m. they have no headliner. And they call you like, "Can you get here in 5 minutes?" And there were many times where I just was like, "Okay, like, yes, be right there." And then also there were, because I wanted more opportunities to DJ, I started throwing my own parties. My best friend, Anisha, and I she was in the PR world, and we decided to join forces, start a company called Lioness LA, and we would throw parties and donate a part of the proceeds to a charity that we chose, and she would get like Whole Foods and this headphones company. She would get all these headphones companies, or not headphones, multiple companies
different
to
companies.
give us product. We'd like stay up all night making gift bags, and then like we threw a Valentine's Day party at AM's Club LAX.
Wow.
Like in 2011 or something, or 2009. I can't even remember. Like it was, we started in like 2006, and for 6 years we threw our own parties at all the hottest clubs in LA, and we would have to, like, we were rookies. We didn't know what we were doing. We would have to agree to really high bar minimums.
Right.
Because we were like we were not like their regular Hollywood promoters. We were just these two girls that wanted to invite all our friends out to a party. And so we would throw these Lioness LA parties, get hundreds of people out, and try to make that $10,000 bar minimum guarantee in order for our kickback to begin. And we'd be like checking with the bar at the end of the night, like, "Where are we at?" And sometimes we'd like have to buy 20 shots to hit our minimum in order for our 15% or 20% kickback to come back to us to make money from the night. And we did that for 6 years. So I got to DJ a lot of clubs just throwing my own parties there.
That's interesting and a cool way to show how you can get into places if you're unable to get into it with the other promoters or with the owners.
If the club owner and the promoters
and then they'll see you there and realize, oh, this person should
bring
be
you in
here.
on
But
other
it's
nights.
kind of a
yeah.
that's
And
really
then
cool.
to this day, Anisha will. So I've never been signed to an agency. I've never been signed to
That's
a
interesting.
manager or booking
Wow.
agency.
Never.
And I
You've
know
never had any.
I've
You've always
watched-
done your own
I've
stuff.
watched you go through
I've
multiple.
been through a lot.
And I would be like, oh, Spider's on Deckstar. Maybe I should get on Deckstar. Oh, Spider's on whatever. Maybe I should get on that. Oh, maybe like I think I've even asked
Right.
you over the years. Oh, how's your experience with the? And then you'd be like, oh, they're going out of business or whatever.
Right.
Like I don't know whatever
That's
would
pretty
happen.
cool to think about and to see like we've both been doing it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I had people you didn't.
But, like
and,
what's
I mean, that's
interest-
impressive.
Yeah, I've
that
never
you've
had
never
a manager or booking agent, but I will ask my best friend Anisha to like. There have been times where she's acted as my manager, acted
Okay.
as my booking agent. When I feel like it'd be unprofessional for me to represent myself,
Right.
I just pass it to her and she handles it. But she's just my best friend. She's not a DJ booker or manager or agent or anything. She just helps
Right.
me when I don't feel uncomfortable representing myself in a situation.
Right.
So, yeah, but I'll work with tons of different agencies and event planners and event production companies that'll bring me in,
Yeah.
but never like a manager or a booking agent that books me for everything and takes a percentage of everything I do.
Right.
There'll be like people I'll work with on one-offs and they may
Yeah,
take a
yeah.
percentage.
Like
but never-
non-exclusive and you'll work
yeah,
with them. But
yeah, I have non-exclusive things like I'll do stuff with Nona Entertainment with
Yeah.
Michelle or other DJ agents, not DJ agencies, but event planning and event
Yeah.
production agencies that'll hire me or bring me in or
Right.
whatever, like Netflix or whatever will be like, we want her, and then the event planner and event agency will
Yeah.
reach out to me and work it all out. But
wow. What is there anything you've learned over the years of doing your own stuff that you could pass on to people out there?
I've heard DJ Vice say this: be a good person, be a kind person, be a nice person, and that, I mean, he's had a ton of like representation in terms of booking agencies
Yeah.
and managers and road manager and all of that. But at the end of the day, it comes down to you. Are you a person people want to deal with?
Yes.
And are they comfortable just going directly to you? And I was always open to signing with a booking agency. It's just, it never,
Right.
like you were talking with in previous podcasts, it's something that has to naturally come to you
Yeah.
and naturally like organically happen. And for
Right.
me, it never did. And so I never was like,
What about,
Scam, please sign me,
Right.
or like Deckstar, please sign me. I'm an up and coming DJ, please sign me. Because like you said, they have to see like dollar
Right.
bills over your head, and then you have to see dollar bills in the situation where you're about to hand them 15 to 20% of everything
Right.
you've built.
Yeah.
So for me, that situation never naturally came about, and I never pushed it. And to this day, all my clients from like, Emmy's parties, Patek Philippe, they're all clients that just come to me directly, give me the date, I give them the rate, I write my own contract, my own
Right.
invoicing, everything. Sure, there's days when I wish I had 5 people working for me that I could outsource all that out to, but I also think I'm a control freak, and I
Right.
am also okay doing it all myself. So it's literally like my eyes are on the situation start to finish.
It is sometimes hard to talk about yourself and figure out the rate. Like, how do you figure out your rate for some? Do you have a set rate? Do you do like hourly, or do you have a set thing, or do you just go per? Okay, this seems like this is what I'm gonna do.
I
Like-
think every DJ has to have their bottom, like their minimum for what they will work for. I feel like for clubs, it shouldn't go under 100 an hour. And for special events, I don't think it should go under 1,000 an hour. And that's funny to me, because how can I work in an industry where I'm okay with a club rate that may be 1/10 of the corporate rate, but there's 2 different values in those things.
Yeah.
Like for a corporate event or a special event or a private event, you are bringing all of your expertise to that venue, and they may be hiring you because you are a DJ at a very hot club.
Yes.
And so you DJ that club for much less because you are getting the experience, learning to DJ in a very high pressure situation, and also just having all the eyeballs on you and being in a very coveted spot that many DJs would love to be in. And so
Yeah.
I walk both paths and have 2 very different rates, when it's appropriate.
Yeah, that's interesting and a really cool way to look at it. And I agree. Like tend
Would
to
you
get
say
paid
that
less
your
in
club- yeah,
clubs
your club
than
rate is
events,
different
but
than your event
it
rate.
can lead to those other things. You know,
But I
you
do
never
think
know.
it's okay to talk about, minimums that we should all be comfortable working for.
Right.
Like, I don't like hearing that there's clubs paying less than $100 an hour or bars paying less than $100 an hour. But I also know there's a difference between a small bar with many fewer people coming through the night than like
Yeah.
a club that has hundreds of people coming through the night.
Yeah.
But I like to, I just like to encourage people, like, have your minimums and learn to say no for anything that comes through under that, unless you see a real like value potential in it.
Right.
And then for special events, the rate is higher because you're really bringing all of your years of experience and expertise to that event.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and
I
you're
think-
catering specifically to what they want, and it's just a
so
whole
I think
different
that's
thing.
why it's okay for your special event rate to be higher than your club rate. And also, like, I love clubs. I'll do clubs till I'm 80. I hope. I don't know. I
Right.
DJ'd a club in the clubs till I was 8 months pregnant. So let's
Yeah.
see how old I can be DJing still in the
I
clubs.
love that.
And like,
That's so cool.
Like, I still love it. That's like where I come alive. Like, 12:45 a.m. when the
Yeah.
club is like in that sweet spot and everyone's bottles and drinks have arrived and it's like go time, like, and you just, go, you're like, it's go time. I'm just going to like drop this and then this and then this and then go to this and then drop Weekend Crew Love and then go into like Lil Wayne Go DJ and then Nuck If You Buck, then bring it back to like the new Drake album. And then like, you're just like in it. And then
Yeah.
like, you look up and it's 1:45 and it's time to play 3 slow jams and get everyone out. And then you're like, what just happened? And I do all of that
I love that,
usually
what just
sober.
happened.
Yeah. Like the lights come on and you're like,
You're usually sober, like you don't really drink or smoke or do whatever.
sometimes I drink, but like I like think tequila makes me a better DJ, but I also don't like the way I feel the next day after drinking. And
Right.
so
That sounds about
I
right.
pick my battles with nights that I'm going to drink or not. And in LA, the night is so short. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
I know, by the time you have
like
2
driving
drinks, it's
myself
over.
everywhere. I
Same.
don't like waiting for cars. So like I drive myself. I like pull into the valet. They know me. They're like, Shaw, how's it going? Like I
Yes.
pull into the
I have the
spot.
same-
I have
same
the back staircase way
format.
to get into like Bootsy and Poppy. And like, I just love the convenience of driving myself. And
Yeah.
it's too short of a night to like get your drink on, sober up, and drive home.
Yeah, and especially being a parent, we're
And the
both
next
parents.
morning
Like you
show
want
up
to be
as a
able to
mother.
wake up and be
Yeah.
with your kid. Yeah,
Yep.
that's crazy.
So yeah, I pick
interesting.
my battles with drinking, and like for the most part, I'm doing all this sober. The high for me is that intensity from 12:30 to 1:45.
Yeah, as it should be.
That is the
That's so
high for
cool.
me. Even
Right.
arriving at 11 p.m., I'm already feeling the high begin of like, oh
Yeah.
my God, we're about to go on a really intense journey
3
tonight.
hours are gonna be
Yeah.
nuts. Yeah. I know. I think that too. Sometimes I'll be like, "There's only an hour or something left in the night, and so many crazy things are about to happen in the next
So
hour
many
and
crazy
45
things are
minutes."
about to
Like,
happen. I may get a drink thrown on me. I may, like, your favorite rapper in the whole wide world might walk in. Like,
what's some of the
entire,
off the top
like-
of your head? Is there any crazy thing that stands out that's like that? Either
other than catching COVID from Fabo?
yes, a different one. If you don't have it, it's fine. I know I'm putting you on the spot. But
I will just look up and see, there's been like, I was DJing One Oak one time and they were like, Rihanna just walked in. And I'm like, like it was just your favorite artists. And
Yeah.
like, or, like it's funny because I'm not into sports at all. And now I'm friends with all these NBA players and I have to ask my husband who they are and who they play for when
Right.
I get home. And my husband's
you're like, "That guy's tall. Is he good or not?"
oh
I
my
don't know.
God, like that was Dwight Howard. I'm like, oh, like it's just
I do the
funny.
same thing, but with my son. I'm like, I was DJ'd Ben Simmons' birthday. He's like, "What,
Yes,
Ben Simmons?" I'm like, I didn't know who he was.
It makes it more fun when you can tell somebody who
Right.
knows who it is.
I'm like sending a video. I was like, "Who is this person?" He's like, "That's the tallest basketball
Yeah.
player, Bogdan." I'm like, I have no
Yeah.
idea. He just looks really big.
Yeah, no, it's just like that's the very, very fun part about Poppy and Bootsy. When I get there, I'm not told who's bought tables. So I'm just
Right.
waiting to see who shows up.
I know. I
and
started
what's gonna
doing that
happen.
lately. The past like month or so, when I've been doing that spot in Hollywood, I'm like,
who's
any
coming
plans for tonight?
Yeah.
I'm like, who's coming in tonight? And they'll be like, Kygo and his manager, like Swedish House Mafia. And I'm like, oh, good to know.
Yeah, good
so
to
like
know.
I get this ready, like I can drop
hate when
this,
they don't like let you know, and then all of a sudden they're like,
and like Drake walks in, you're like, oh Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
And Drake's dad is always at Bootsy and
Drake's
Poppy
dad
for
is
some reason.
always.
And like,
That's a guarantee,
but they'll just
right?
be like, so and so, like the game is at table 4 and he wants this song, or Dwight Howard or whatever, like this NBA play, the Lakers bought out those 3 tables and they want these 3 songs, and I'm like downloading them like on the side, hoping Serato doesn't crash with a browser open while I'm like playing.
You need that
6
new
songs
computer
in a
to
row.
come.
Yeah, I know. I'm about to pick up this MacBook Air with the M2 chip, and I'm like,
good.
I'm like delaying picking it up because I'm like,
make sure things even work with the M2. I think they just got it to work with the M1.
M2's not yet supported, so this is going to be an interesting ride. But yeah,
no, you'll be good. You'll be good.
Your laptop becomes your ride or die, and then when it's time to switch to a new one, I get full on paralysis. But it's time. So
yeah, they make it a lot easier.
I just want to be able to download whatever it is that the Lakers want. Because we are in LA, both the Lakers and Clippers are here, and then all of the visiting teams, and then like
you get everybody.
Soccer players come in, and they want like a lot of the French soccer players want these French songs that they walk out to onto the field, and they want those played at the height of the night, and so it's like I just want to be able to do this stuff without a computer crashing, so like Serato freezing on me or anything like that. So, but yeah, that's what I mean by a high intensity, high pressure situation, which is the club. It trains you like no other, for then you can handle anything after that, when like you're getting managers and bottle service hosts coming and asking you for things for tables, and then your texts are blowing up with promoters or doormen telling you so-and-so's walking in, they want this song, and this table is now been moved this table to this table, and this table is now coming to the DJ booth and they want this song. It's like a very intense high pressure situation, and you just have to be like,
see what we deal with.
That's why at the end, that's why at 1:55 you're like,
yes,
what just happened?
Yeah.
Because it's
the owner gone?
So
Did everybody
fast.
leave?
Yeah, it's just, it goes so quick in a blink of an eye, and it's
so hard to go to sleep after that too, because you're all like hyped up. Like I'm like, I need some time to decompress.
Then I have to go and like watch Handmaid's Tale or whatever till like 4 a.m, so that I can like decompress and then go to bed and then wake up
with your child.
Yeah, and be a mom. But no, I'm not gonna lie. Like I have a huge support system.
Yeah,
mainly like my husband, my mom, my sister, people who help out on the weekends majorly and throughout the week, so that I can prep for gigs and then go to these gigs and not be worried about childcare and what my kid ate for dinner and what time they went to bed. When I step into the club, I'm full on. It's like whiplash. It's literally like you're like in mom mode, and then all of a sudden at 9 p.m. on a Friday, you're like, I should shower. Okay, let me, I don't know when the last time okay, I'm going to shower, get my clothes on, get my makeup on, do my whole thing, like, warp into DJ Lady Sha, and then step into the club and be back to 2019 pre-baby DJ Lady Sha, turn up in the club. It's just a lot harder now because you've had a full day with your kid.
Right.
And
no,
before,
totally. That's
before a
amazing
kid, I would sleep until 1 p.m.
Yeah.
Have whatever I want to do, and then like be hitting my energy peak at 10 p.m. ready to go out. Now I'm like, I want to go to bed, but it's time to switch gears and become DJ Lady Sha for the next 5 hours.
Right.
So that's really interesting.
It is.
But it's not hard to do. The moment I step into the club, I literally, everything else melts away from me, and I'm like, just zoned into being a DJ for that event. Like I
love it.
The outside world could be burning down, and I'm like, no, I am DJing this event. Like laser focus kicks in, and yeah, that's great. I know we don't have that much time, so we wanted to hit a couple more topics like before we get out. Another thing that we did together was the Beyond the Music retreat. Yes.
I was able to do some speaking things there, and you spoke on a really important panel on the first one as well as you were at the second one. Do you want to speak about that at all? I
mean, both of those experiences were like the best weeks ever. I was so happy that like Vice reached out, and Dazzler and Styles Davis, and they all were like, we want you on the like DJs and health panel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm not like the picture of health, but okay, like I think we all do things in our daily lives.
But you did such a great job,
like,
and it was so insightful and amazing.
You.
Like how did you come up with what you were going to talk about?
I had no idea. I just let like Vice lead the way, and I followed suit and just talking about real life experiences. And it's a very real thing to live in a nightlife vampire lifestyle, yet still be a human in the world, like a regularly normally functioning human in the day. We're barely doing it. And the reason why, like, you and me both have like under eye circles a lot of days. Like we're just nuts. Like, oh God, that's why I do like an hour and a half of makeup before I go to my DJ gig. It's acceptable for
you to wear makeup. So I'm just like, yo. Everyone's just like, you look tired. I'm like, this is my normal face.
No, a lot of concealer helps me just flip that right around. But there's so much more we have to do to counteract our job.
Yeah.
It's not that like we're drinking all night for fun. We're literally like in a space at night where we are working and focusing, and like those are just our hours. And so I think there's a lot we have to do during the day and with the rest of our lives to combat that. So whether it be like hydrating, electrolytes, like I'm going to turn blue in the face telling DJs to drink electrolytes. It's a game changer, especially for hangovers. And getting movement and making sure your mind's right. You can't go turn up in the club if emotionally and mentally you're not in a good place yourself.
Yes.
After that high of the club is over, you're in a dark place afterwards. Yeah. If you can't find a way to keep yourself like even keeled throughout your day and night and after, and have your come down, whatever way you need to, whatever routine you need to come down.
Yeah.
You need to maintain that and have it. And so I think that's what each panel at Beyond the Music was so valuable, and I learned so much. And like just sometimes it wasn't even learning; it was just like commiserating and like feeling like there were a group of people you could relate to on almost like every aspect. And so that's why Beyond the Music was so
but I think your panel was nice for people to talk about something that is not talked about as much in the DJ world, and to hear it from experienced people, and for everyone to sort of commiserate and share stories about that kind of stuff instead of just like,
and just share tips on how we survive.
Right.
And maybe do a little better than survive.
Yeah.
Maybe even thrive a little
It's hard, and we've had to learn, because you are just trying to survive, but we should be able to thrive.
Yeah, all you're told in the news is that people who work nights live shorter lives, and you're like, great.
Oh, great.
Let me just drink this little cup of electrolytes, and maybe that'll reverse the whole thing. No, it takes so much more than that.
What do you use, the little powder electrolytes or
whatever
something?
I can. Sometimes just a pinch of salt in my water.
Oh, okay.
Like literally just anything to like.
Good to know.
Balance your sodium level, whatever. I don't know how it works, but it just like, I know it works. Electrolytes work.
That's super interesting. I know another thing that you've been involved in just very recently, and that's in the news, and that's very near and dear to your heart, of course. And I don't want to get through the podcast without bringing more awareness to this and talk about it, is the stuff that's going on in Iran.
Yeah, it's
I know, like, I'll let you talk about it more than me.
Heavy on. The last 3 weeks have been like all consuming for Iranians or Persians, where it refers to, the people of Iran. Those of us that, like my parents, I was born in Iran, and my parents got us out in the early 80s.
Okay.
And all of us that got out of Iran after this Islamic regime took over and basically flipped Iran on its, like, Iran before this Islamic regime was just like mecca of fashion and art and culture, and then the Islamic regime took over and flipped everything on its head.
You see those videos and pictures, and us growing up, like in the 80s, and we only knew the other side of it. You know what I mean? So that's
I was
so
like,
crazy.
It was the 1985. The revolution happened in 1979. In 1985, my parents got us. My dad saw the writing on the wall of like, religious fanatics are taking over the government, and this is not going to be good. So he came to America. My mom and I, he set us up in LA. My mom and I followed a few months later, and then all of the people that got out of Iran, like all of us, have this guilt that we got out, and everyone else in Iran is still there fighting the fight on the ground. And so 3 weeks ago, the morality police, they took in a girl. They ride through the streets, and all my friends in Iran have a story where they've been pulled into these morality police vans, beat up, taken to a station, held. Their parents have to come get them in the middle of the night or the next day. They get questioned. They get, abused. You don't know what happens, and then they. This is the way of life in Iran, and it's all because they're enforcing the dress code of women covering their hair, wearing the hijab. And my sister was like, I'd be dead if I lived there. I'm like, I know, right? Like, we just you don't know what you would do if you still lived there. And so all of us who have gotten out have a degree of guilt. And so protests erupted over the killing of Mahsa Amini, who was taken in by the morality police. And then since then, the youth of Iran, and this is not our parents' generation, this is the youth. I'm talking 15, 16-year-olds, college students, high school students, just spilling into the streets. It's just like their inner rage has bubbled over, and they're in the streets, and it's almost like they have nothing to lose at this point. Yeah. They're just, balls to the wall protesting against this regime, burning headscarves, cutting their hair. Women are out there cutting their hair in the streets and being arrested, beaten, taken in. And so all those of us outside of Iran can do is share the blurry videos that Iran has shut down the internet for most of the day. People have filter breakers that they put on their phone to get videos and texts out. And all the rest of us around the world can do is share those videos, share the coverage, try to get CNN and BBC and New York Times and LA Times to cover it and share it and amplify the message of this protest, which is women, life, freedom. What's funny is that in America, we're fighting for the same thing. And so it is not hard to relate to.
Hearing the parallels and the, religious people trying to take over governments, it's crazy.
It's difficult, I think, sometimes for the U.S. to empathize with countries all the way on the other side of the world, Middle Eastern countries, African countries. Right. It just doesn't seem to get into the news cycle in the same way as a European country would. But
because also they've been sort of demonized in the news over time for no reason.
The youth of Iran, oh my God, these are the bravest people I think I've ever seen. Out in the streets, literally, the Islamic regime has military running through the streets, and these people are just out there without weapons, just really protesting and writing for this cause for 3 weeks now. And you can't help but hope and wish that this is going to finally be the page that turns the chapter in the Islamic regime and brings Iran to the glory it used to be. And so, all we can do is amplify their voices, share their videos, and
go to the protests here.
Yeah, the protest in LA on Saturday, my mom and sister and I went, and there were 20,000 people, more than 20,000 people there, and it was so emotional. And just, I wouldn't be a DJ if I still lived in Iran. My life would be completely different. And so none of that is lost on me, that coming to the U.S. is why I have the privilege to do what I do and be here today and talk about the last 20 years of DJing. None of this would have been possible if I still lived in Iran. So that's why it's completely just mind-blowing. And there is a degree of what can we do from here? And all we can do, like everybody has been doing on my timeline and stories and on TikTok and Twitter, is sharing. Sharing, spreading awareness, and just being a support from the outside while all the youth is out there fighting on the streets and, laying their life down, putting their life on the line.
Yeah. Oh my God. So powerful and so just incredible what's going on, in good and bad ways, I guess.
Yeah. And I mean, when this podcast airs, who knows where this situation will be.
Right.
And it's changing literally every day. And all you can hope for is I'm just going to do my DJ gigs here and live my life here and share what I can and hope for this massive regime change back in Iran so that I can go back. Do I even dare say DJ in Iran one day? Because right now,
it's unimaginable.
I can't even. I've visited a few times, and I can't even say I'm a DJ for a career.
Right. Wow. That's incredible. Well, it's good that you're. I'm glad we were able to talk about it on here.
Thank you.
spread the word
Thank
about
you for
it,
bringing it
and
up,
it's
and
commendable. Everything you're doing for
Here
it.
goes to a massive regime, so then DJs can actually add Iran to their DJ tour rotation someday. Like that would be epic.
Right.
So we'll see.
Crazy.
And yeah, thank you for having me, because this is like a conversation 17 years in the making, and
really
there was no
is.
way we could have gotten this deep had we talked 10 years ago. So I'm glad we have all these years and experiences, and me hiding out in your DJ booth and being at events and getting to talk the way we can now. It took all these years to lead up to this. So.
Yes, this was great. And I learned so much about you and your career and just everything. And so thank you for taking the time to come on. Is there any, two things. Let everybody know where they can find you, website or social media type stuff.
Everybody can find me on IG at DJ Lady Sha. And then my website is ladysha.com, and I post mixes and my schedule and
great.
Everything there.
All right. And any last words, final words for the DJs or anybody listening out there?
I think what I would say is that don't force it. After there were years where I wished to be where I am now, and here we are. And I forget to take a look at where I am now and appreciate it, because I'm constantly thinking of where I want to go next.
Yeah.
But what I do realize is that all those years of trying to push things and force things to happen are not what led to what I have now and the gigs I have now and what I do. It all happened on its own time. All I really needed to do was be good at what I do, and practice and be better every day.
That's perfect. As Snoop would say, blat out. But I don't have the button right here. So great. DJ Lady Sha, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thanks, Oliver.
And go get home to your beautiful child. And I'll do the same. Okay, we'll see you next time. Later. Thank you to Lady Sha for coming on the show. That was so much fun getting to know her and hearing about all those important things she had to talk about. So much insight, like I said. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure you rate and review the podcast on Apple Podcasts. Let us go up on the charts or on YouTube. Make sure you tell all your friends, post the clips, repost it. Thank you guys for the support. The 20 podcast is produced by Beatsource. Join us next week for more interviews as we discuss music that matters to DJs. I'm DJ Spider signing off. Peace.